I'm just going to talk about this because it is a popular subject. I personally don't care at all about tennis. However, the world tennis champion has been found himself in a little bit of hot water because he is not taking the coof shot. Novak Djokovic will be deported if he hasn't told the truth, Deputy PM says. World number one men's tennis player Novak Djokovic should be deported from Australia if he has not told the truth about his exemption from vaccination rules, the Deputy Prime Minister says. Barnaby Joyce told the BBC that rich people can't wander around the world thinking that they are above the laws. Well, as far last time I checked, it wasn't a law to get the vaccine. I don't think it was a law, last I checked. And also, they're investigating his reason. As far as I'm concerned, you don't need the reason. Djokovic, who had travelled to play in the Australian Open, is in immigration detention after his entry was denied. Pardon. A court will decide on whether he should be deported on Monday. The 34-year-old Serbian player, who has said he is opposed to vaccination, had been granted a medical exemption to play in the tournament in Melbourne for unspecified reasons, a decision that infuriated many Australians. Basically, I'm exempt from taking the vaccine, and people just got mad about it, but I thought if you were exempt, it was fine. Why is everybody upset about it? The exemption was given by two independent medical panels organised by Tennis Australia, the body that runs the event, and Victoria State Tournament organisers said. But on Wednesday, Australian Border Force officials said Djokovic had failed to provide appropriate evidence for entry after arriving from Dubai. He is being held at a hotel used for immigration detention in a Melbourne suburb. If he hasn't filled out the forms appropriately, then he is taking the sovereign capacity of another nation for a joke, Mr. Joyce told the BBC's NewsHour programme. I'm sorry, but after all the stuff I've seen coming out of Australia, yeah, the Australian nation, not the nation, the government, the Australian government is a complete fucking joke. Just hundreds of tiny little fucking tyrants. 100% someone's made a mistake, and if he hasn't told the truth, then the person who's made the mistake is Mr. Djokovic. He added, you can't just wander around the world thinking that because you're really rich, you're really above the laws of other nations. I like to walk around the world thinking I'm above the law because some of the laws are fucking stupid. Djokovic's team challenged ABF's decision, and a hearing at the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia has been scheduled for Monday. It is not yet clear whether Djokovic will remain in the same hotel until then. Earlier, Prime Minister Scott Morrison denied Djokovic was being singled out and said no one was above the country's rules, apart from some of your own police force who were caught partying and drinking and all that type of stuff. No prosecutions happened for that, by the way, so I'm sorry, but this statement, yeah, it's not true. Though Djokovic's reason for an exemption has not been disclosed, and as far as I'm concerned, if he is exempt, it's his fucking business, so you can fuck off. Mr. Morrison says that contracting COVID-19 in the past 6 months was not among federal criteria for one. Mr. Morrison had initially said he accepted the Victorian government's decision to grant Djokovic and other tennis players medical exemptions. He is now being accused of politicising the issue amid the huge public backlash. The Prime Minister himself is under pressure amid the surge of COVID-19 infections in the country, and a federal election is scheduled for May. And I've got this, I have this really, really black-pilled version that a lot of Australians are just going to vote in the exact same fucking tyrants again. I've got a feeling. I do have a feeling. The row prompted Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić to say Djokovic was a victim of harassment and that the whole of Serbia supported him. Mr. Morrison denied the visa cancellation was because of any particular position in relation to Serbia. Yes, Serbians are fucking mental. If you deport this guy, basically that'll go all the way to the top of the government in Serbia. Will probably break off all ties with Australia. Right, I don't know if you know, right, but Serbians, oh, they can fucking hold a grudge. The player's father, Stjerdan, it just looks like someone leaned their elbow on a keyboard, said his son had been held in a room guarded by police at the airport. This is not just a fight for Novak, but a fight for the whole world, he said in a statement. For hours, Novak Djokovic supporters made their way outside the Melbourne quarantine hotel where he's believed to be staying, many from the Serbian community there. The strength of feeling was palpable as songs about freedom played and some danced. "This is a disgrace," Christina told me, draped in the Serbian flag. "I'm ashamed to be an Australian today. If he's not playing, I'm not going." Jelena wore a white cap with Djokovic's signature that she got 2 years ago when he was here for a tournament. She carries a sign that says, "Thank you. He represents a connection to my home country. The Australian government needs to fix this mess. It's an international scandal and the world is watching," Jelena said. Her disappointment that he may not be competing evident. Djokovic has landed in the middle of a controversy that's gone beyond tennis and is now at the heart of a political tussle between the state and federal authorities. And while the player and his legal team wait for the court hearing to resume on Monday, anger and confusion are the overarching sentiments here, whether from those who say he shouldn't have been allowed in or those furious of him being deported. The world number one has dominated the Australian Open, winning it 9 times, but his attempt to defend his title and go for a 10th may be over before the tournament begins. Spanish tennis star Rafael Nadal, who is in Melbourne to prepare for the tournament, says it was normal for Australians to get very frustrated with the case. The only for me clear thing is if you are vaccinated, you can play in the Australian Open, he said, adding, "Of course, after a lot of people had been dying for 2 years, my feeling is that the vaccine is the only way to stop this pandemic." But former Australian Open tournament director Paul McNamee told local media the visa U-turn was unprecedented, saying it smells of politics. It is. It absolutely is. That's 100% what it is. Let's not pretend anymore. Let's see all the COVID pandemic and all the vaccination stuff and the push for vaccinations. Let's not deny for a second that it's not political, right? It's every single bit of it is political. It has now become a left versus right issue like many other things, right? There will still be, I know a lot of vaccine skeptics and stuff on the left, but the overwhelming majority are all on the right. They're all on the right, and basically governments have seen this as an amazing way to exclude the right from society. That's why they want to do this, right? They've found, this is an amazing way for us to completely excommunicate these Untermensch, these subhumans, these plague rats, as people have taken to call us. So, and some people have even says that right-wing people are anti-vaxxers and stuff like that, because apparently we're anti-vaxxers. We've got 99% of our other vaccines, but because we won't take one, we're anti-vaxxers. I'll never buy a Mercedes car, but I've owned pretty much every other one. I guess I'm anti-car. They've said that we should get our own little country that we get to govern and we get to stay in. And your terms are acceptable. Your terms are very, very, very acceptable. I would be completely okay with that. See this whole American divorce and everything as well. I want that to happen. I think that would solve so much conflict. In fact, why not take it a step even further and just dissolve the entire thing and have everyone just living on private property or covenant communities or city-states or micronations and stuff like that? Why not do that? I think that would be a much better idea, and everyone, literally everyone, would get to live in the type of community that they want to live in. There is this really, really good book by a man called Hans Hermann Hoppe, and it's called Democracy, the God That Failed. You should read that book. You can get it for free from the Mises website. The Australian Open begins on 17th of January. Djokovic has previously won the tournament 9 times. Oh, there we go. That was the end of the article anyway. But yeah, I've said pretty much everything that I've had to say, and obviously, states are obviously starting to cause an awful lot of problems. And obviously, there's a lot of people who want to turn the country into the Soviet Union, as everyone is starting to call it, where, us filthy, dirty plague rat will be Untermensch and not allowed to participate in society. However, you want to put us in our own little country, our own little bit of land that we get to govern and stuff like that. And the only downside is we won't be allowed to come into your nation and hang around with people like you. Oh no, that truly would be terrible. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. You want to give us our own little bit of land and separate us into our own little nation? Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. I'm fine with that. Let's tell you what, your terms are acceptable. Let's make it happen.